Hey, what's going on?
Hi.
This is Matt Bowman, and this is Matt Bowman is Bothered. And as you've already heard, I am not as alone as I normally am for these. I'm here with one of my friends, is the very funny Espi Rivadeneira.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm allergic to cats. I'm
Dude,
sure you guys
fucking
know.
everybody is, from what I've gathered.
I wish I wasn't. I love them.
Yeah,
Teddy's so sweet.
Yeah, but you are the 1, 2, 5. I can't even keep track of how many of people that come over here and are like, I love your place. It's very nice, and the cats are delightful, but I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
I can't breathe when I walk in, and it's crazy because I don't. Well, I mean, it is kind of shitty weather outside, but I mean, that feel like that just started when you got here.
It did, because it was nice before, and it was nice in Manhattan. Also, your place is very clean, so I'm just really allergic to cats.
And this is on a bad day. This is bad.
Really?
I put there was a pile of dishes in the sink,
Damn.
and so I put them in the dishwasher before you came
Good
here.
for you.
Yeah, I honestly, if you want to get into something that that can upset me a little bit, and it's something that's changed from when I was a kid. Because do you remember when you were a kid?
Yes.
Yeah. You ever remember childhood? Fucking nailed it, dude. But and when you were a kid and your parents were like, your friends are coming over, you need to pick up all your stuff.
Yes.
And I distinctly remember being like, I guarantee my friends don't give a fuck.
Yes.
They don't care at all if my bed isn't made. Now, there's a pile of ants on the floor. They don't give a shit. We'll play with them. Ants are fun. As an adult,
I'm like, I need to clean.
if I go over to somebody's apartment and they didn't even try, I'm like, this is, you know I was coming, right?
Yeah. When it's bad, I'm like, okay, do you need help?
Yeah, like, this is how you're presenting your apartment to me. I can't imagine what it's like when you're alone.
That's not good.
No.
They're just not taking care of themselves.
Not at all. And so, like, I try to make a little bit of an effort. Like, I didn't have time to do everything.
Oh, you did great.
But like I wiped off the counter. I made it so that the dishes were gone. I tried to make sure the bathroom was okay and did a little
It looks great,
sweep.
Matt Bowman.
Well, thank you. We do try. It is harder. That's something that Sam, she gets like very bothered by when things are everywhere. And she's just like, this apartment is never clean. I'm like, yeah, because people are living here. Like, this isn't a show apartment.
That's what my mom always tries to make it look unlived in. I'm like, no, people live here.
Yeah.
No, it looks clean. I mean, mine gets kind of dirty. I'm like obsessed with throwing things away now.
Good, because you were obsessed with taking people's garbage before.
Hoarding problem.
Yeah.
But now I'm anti-hoarding.
Yeah, we used to make fun of you for that all the time. You would be like, my
emotional trauma.
And you would be like, my place has ants. I'm like, you brought in 4 chairs from beneath a dumpster. You almost did it the other day.
Well, I stopped now, and
You
I don't
did.
do it. I stopped myself. I'm aware.
We were leaving a comedy club, and we were walking to the train, and we passed by this painting, and Espi's in front of us like a tourist. He's like, oh my God, a painting. Do I need that? And
Everyone was
4
like,
of us were like, no, you don't need that.
And I would bring it from Brooklyn to Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing is like you would show up to like open mics and you would have
a lamp.
I had
a lamp.
I'd be like, what is that? She's like, I need it. I'm like,
I got
don't
in
think
trouble
so.
at the Grizzly Pear because I had this huge thing to hang, like a giant coat hanger.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it in the back room, and Peter and Gary were so pissed at me. They were like, oh, you just comics bring their shit and leave it all over. And I was like, well, can I just? And they were like, okay, but then make sure you leave it there. They were like, fine, but never again. And I was like, okay.
I feel like a little bit of that is because I think people are still slightly scared of you.
I don't know if they are. Gary mentioned, I didn't know he even, like, I was on his radar for the longest time. He was like, yeah, nobody, like, fucks with you. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh, how did you take that?
Know. I was like, cool. I like it that I don't, okay, so actually I was like, I have to tone it down because I was just scaring people.
Sure.
And then David H told me, he's like, a lot of guys won't go to your mic because they're, like, scared. And I'll tell them, you know, and so I was like, all right, I got to like tone it down. And I'm all about positivity now. So I'm different.
Yeah, dude. I said that last week. I'm trying to be Maddie B with a positive P.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to have to change your podcast name.
Oh, no. See, that's the thing. That was most of the last episode was just like, I'm trying to retain, like, I'm bothered by a lot of things because it's fun.
It is fun. Well,
it's more fun to be like, who's funnier? The guy that's just like, isn't today great? Or the guy that's just like, look at that fucking stupid thing over there. You know what I mean?
I think the difference for me is like, maybe I'm thinking about Jim Gaffigan versus like Bill Burr. It's like, who can you say
sure
is funnier?
But I think that's all about like
so
tone and delivery. Because I think same with like somebody pointed it out, like Seinfeld. They're like, Seinfeld is clean, but like
he's pretty pissy.
He's
too.
pissed at everything. He just does it in a very straight-laced, matter-of-fact way.
I used to be scared of not being angry because I was like, who am I? And then I started to just get happier.
Yeah.
And then I was like doing my angry material. Also, I think that being angry on stage is really hard. So unless you really nail it and you mean it, like go for it. But I also was like, that's not who I am anymore.
You have to sell it every time. Like, because that's sometimes why, like, if something just happened to me and I go up and I'm like, this fucking just happened to me, and I'm like, I'm in the emotion of it. I'm really like,
right.
Then it really works. And then, like, you try it like 2 days later and you're like, oh, this isn't working as much. Why? Because I'm not as in touch with the emotion of it. And I think that I'm just trying to do that more in general. Just like, rather than focusing on these are the words, this is what I wrote. And this is something that I think Louis said on a podcast where he was like, get in touch with like the emotion, like not this is my bit about whatever. How do I feel about whatever I'm talking about? And then the other shit'll come through.
Your fans are gonna think I'm gross. I'm just like digging.
I have like 3, so that's okay.
They're gonna be like, this girl.
Yeah. Well, this episode's gonna be called Sniffles. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Then they're just gonna think I'm sad, which is also not my brand anymore.
No.
People were like, "Oh, you're so depressed," and I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." And
yeah. Have you listened to Juice WRLD? That was a bit.
One of my bits I used to do a while ago. I forgot about that bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all about being emotional on stage. I scream a lot.
Mm-hmm. You're I've called you the Sam Kinison of our time.
Yay.
Yeah. I don't know. That's just.
I love Sam.
Yeah, because of that one aspect. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That'll
the
blow.
famous.
Yeah, I gotta make a note at 7:15 to be like, okay, let's make sure.
Tone it down.
No, it's all right. But yeah, so I think mine has been more recent that I've tried to be. I think where I try to be, or I'm not trying to be. This is an art thing that I've talked about, like in therapy as well as with Sam. I
didn't know you were in therapy.
Yeah, Sam and I are in therapy together.
Oh yeah, I knew that. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Where I like to just like talk shit and make fun of a lot of things, but sometimes I think there are times where that is not. It's not just. It's not funny. It's more just like me being like kind of just kind of overall negative. And then that's not fun. That's not fun to be around. I would much rather be like, isn't that kind of fucking dumb? But like kind of still with like an upbeat type of a thing rather than just pure negativity. So that's kind of where I'm trying to improve at.
Of course, I'm writing jokes, but like, so me and Jay have our podcast and we very much do not try to be funny. And then the more we did it, it just started happening because we're both comics and we're like comfortable with the podcast now. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best. Like I do get frustrated when I'm with my friends and it's like bits. Because I'm like, okay, I have feelings and you guys are going to hear about it. And I remembered, so this was like a couple of years ago. I was going through a different breakup and.
Espi's been through many.
It's my personality. No, I'm great. I'm very lovable. And I have an anger problem. Actually, never mind. I was going to go into it, but so this last breakup's been very good for me because I've been changing a lot.
Good.
Anyways, whatever. Another breakup I went through. Mm-hmm. I remember like texting you guys because the guy reached out and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like this was like months after and I was still like conflicted about it. Everybody was just making fun of me.
Oh, I remember that.
And
that was funny.
I really appreciated, reached out like on the side, like, hey, I know everybody's running bits because I was like sad about it.
Sure.
And then I just also didn't want to seem like a pussy. So I was like, yeah, but I was just like crying.
Sure.
Behind the screen. And I was like, yeah. Then you were like, hey,
just that meme of Michael Jordan just like weeping.
Just tears. And so I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like I really appreciated that as a friend because I was like, damn, no one's taking. Like I went in serious, like, hey guys, and everyone was like, oh, he left you to go down by the river, and I was like, okay.
No, I will always defend, and I want people to do. I love doing bits and doing jokes, all of that stuff for sure. But there is also a time and a place to do the other stuff. I just don't want it to be like you don't want to lean too hard into the other stuff.
I think it's good to have a balance of both.
Sure.
Because then also too, like, there'd be nights I'd be crying on Jake and Eli's couch, and then they would make fun of me, and that would just like lighten.
Of course,
because
that's yeah. I think like it's something like it was when Segura's dad died. I think like Joey Diaz like called him, was like checking in, making sure that like he's okay, like you good, man. But then was just like, any work we need to do on the will? Like, do we need to do any, like, basically just like cut, because that's exactly what that is.
That was what I needed though too, and they were like, "You're gay," and I was like, "Yeah, I am." And I was just like, "This is gay." And it was where that we're all laughing because I'm being
exactly,
gay.
and then you're kind of processing through because you don't want to. It's not good to just sit.
No, if you sit
in the emotion,
I've done
too
both
long.
where I've sat in it too long and also tried to avoid. But now I think I'm good at like balancing that.
Yeah. It's funny that you said like not this breakup, but the one like before that. I know most of the people, and there was a time, especially after this most recent one, I was like, I am here for whatever you need, absolutely. But part of me was just like, can you stop dating my friends? Because like it's like you can only fracture the friend group too.
It's hard because I have such trust issues, so then I end up dating my friends. But now I'm like, I would never say anything bad about any of them.
Of course.
Especially the last one was my favorite. So I was like,
right.
Yeah, that sucked even more because we were friends.
Sure.
So I was like, damn, it still kind of does suck. It's like getting better. But yeah, that was shitty. It kind of hit me finally. I was like, oh yeah, like if you also love someone as a friend, like you could just stay friends.
Yeah. So that's been going better?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
And that's it. Thank you. No.
And that, if everyone's what I got, no, but I would never say anything bad about him or anything.
That's good. Well, I think you took time to kind of work through everything, and it was appropriate to a degree to feel certain things. But now you seem like, happier, or at least maybe not happier, but like.
Well, I think what happened, I'll just be honest about, because it's like people talk anyways, but I'm like, I feel like we just weren't working. There was nothing, I can't say anything bad about. It's funny, I told one of my friends, I was like, I wish he just hit me or something, because then it would be easier. But then I was like, damn, it just sucks when you just aren't working or the timing's not right or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was just like stress. It was weird because it was like, oh, we care about each other so much. We're just like stressing each other out because we're both neurotic in our own ways, almost like opposite. So yeah, I just like, I wish him the best, honestly.
Well,
but I was like, I think too, it's like I went through the emotions, but I didn't like show that to the public. It was like, you're one of my closest friends. So I was like, I talked to you about it, but I also knew I was like, I was like angry. I was mad though because of the loss, not like.
I thought you said because of the laws, and I was like, "What laws?
Like,
fucking Sharia? What's happened? Did he?
Did he? Okay.
Is this a municipality? What's going on? How did this happen?
The restraining order. Because you really can't talk. No.
I mean, dude, and then you just drag it out in the courts, man. Just the defense attorneys, they just they're scumbags.
No, but I think it made me really, so a lot of stuff happened the past few months. So it was like, that was a big loss of a friend and a boyfriend. And then we lost another friend, and then my uncle passed away. And so I was like hit with like a bunch of losses at one time. And then I've always been really neurotic about like comedy, which I still am,
sure,
but just in a different way. But I went to my uncle's funeral, and my parents were like, oh, you came, like so happy to see me. And I was like, oh, I'm an asshole, because one time I was so obsessed with doing comedy that I missed my brother's wedding, where I was like, no, I have to do stand up. And I don't even remember what shows I was doing that night, but I do know I missed my brother's wedding. And I was like, damn, that's fucked up. Like, and so I was like, my family was just so happy to see me. And I was like, oh, I have to like spend more time like with life stuff. Cause it's like, then we lost another friend, and I got annoyed people talking about oh, he's never going to do comedy again. I was like, who cares about that? Like, let's just let him. I hope he's just happy one day, you know? And then that was like a death too. But I was just like kind of realizing the important stuff, or like maybe, I don't know. It was weird because the relationship too, I felt like it wasn't going well, where I started to get a lot of anxiety about the relationship, and it was like bleeding into my stand-up. So then I've never been anxious like that before, where I'm like so worried about someone else, and I just wasn't really like taking care of myself. And then I lost a lot of weight, which was bad because I'm already
I was gonna say, for you, like you're almost what did you say? You just like,
I was like 95 and dropping.
Yeah, and you were almost dead. Like that's
I looked horrible. People were like, you're so pale.
Yeah.
I remember my friend was like, dude, you're like pale.
You're just looking in like a normal white person.
That was like, so, and then even Gia was like, because she, not thin.
This is a rabbit, by the way.
Oh, yeah,
This isn't a human person. This is a woodland creature.
Gia was a dear friend, a dear pet, but she doesn't like sleep with me normally. But so what happened was I was so depressed, I wasn't like eating, and then I was just sleeping a lot. I would just like force because I would wake up and be like, my life sucks. So I would just go back to sleep. And then Gia would be like whiskers in the face, like, come on.
Dude, it's
get up,
weird
get up,
that animals can do that. Like our Teddy and Rooney, like, well, Sam, I mean, cries more than I do. Like, that's just what it is. But if she's ever like super upset about something, Rooney or Teddy, or sometimes both of them, will like go in and be like, you doing okay?
Yeah,
how you doing? Yeah, it's weird.
It was like weird because
we can't communicate. Like, I can't communicate with them like that. I can, like, I'm not gonna have them on the podcast. You know what I mean?
Like, hey guys,
hey, what's going on? So what's going on in Whiskertown?
You should put them on the podcast.
Rooney has come on a couple times on accident.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it hasn't been on purpose. No,
I put Gia on the podcast purposely one time. But no, but I was like, damn. And then I wasn't like waking up, so I would miss the daylight.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh. And then I just was like, okay, I can either like die, because I felt like I was dying.
Sure.
Just because, not even trying to, just like, I'm so sad. And I was like, or you can like re-find the love of stand-up.
Yeah.
So I kind of like, even part of my stepping away from Instagram for a little bit was like, figure out what you really want to do and then now it's like my spark's back, where I'm like, okay, let's get out there and like do stuff.
And the stepping away from Instagram wasn't the fact that you accidentally gave away your account information to a hacker.
No, that happened a while ago.
Yeah, that was really funny.
And I got it. I'm so lucky I got it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was very humorous at that point. Fuck, I wrote something down. Oh yeah, two things. One was the balance of doing life stuff versus doing comedy. Because if you only ever doing comedy, then you're not having any life experiences, and it's going to affect what you can write about, your perspective on things. If you're not experiencing anything and you're just kind of living in like I go to my apartment, then I go to an open mic, then I go to show, then I go home.
That's happened to me a lot.
Good, because you're getting time, and it's always good to go up. But like, you also do need to live a life and spend time with your friends. If not just for your own sanity, but bring it back to comedy, for actual material and life experience.
So Carla has become a close friend of mine, but she was so sweet. She like got me a ticket to Austin because I was not doing well. She was like, go see your family. And then
nice.
She came and we went hiking and stuff, and it was great. Some of my best jokes that are like new are from that trip.
Yeah.
And so, but then I have always, like, so many times I've fallen into the rut of like, what do I write about open mics now? Because I had nothing to write about. So now it's the first time I feel like I am generating a lot more material, because I let myself do fun stuff. And I'm not, and then I also am listening to my body more, which might sound weird, but I would get sick a lot over the years because I'd be pushing myself so much. So now I'm better at like, if I don't feel like working out today, I'm not gonna, or like, sometimes I'd be like, oh, I can hit this place. It's like, okay, sure, like get in as much stage time as you can, but then don't go insane. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Because I would go out, I'd be out so late every night, like or hanging out somewhere. And I was like, you don't have to do this all the time. But Jay is good. Jay's like going through a lot where she's transitioning and
to being a better comic.
Yes, and
Yeah.
a full lady.
Jay fucking rules.
Jay's the best, and Jay is such a good writer.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, sometimes I feel a little bit guilty because I don't get up as much as other people, but I always get laughs. I was like, I think it's because you take the time to like really write it out. And she's a bit of a perfectionist. It's like, yeah, get up as much as you can. But I think I've learned from her too, like, because sometimes I would go up in a mic and I realize I have nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Nothing new.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, like now I'm better at taking my time and being like, should I go up now or would I benefit more from writing? Because in the past I would always be like, get up. And then sometimes you go to like 5 mics and you're like, I hate myself.
Well, and it's diminishing returns at some point because you're just like, this is, yeah, I got up, but this isn't effective. I didn't learn anything. I wasn't trying a new tag out. I wasn't trying anything out. This is just, now sometimes if you need to be into the like fucking, I'm trying to not necessarily I'm trying to, memorize this. This is how I want it to be. I want to make sure that I know it 100% word for word or exactly how I want to do it. That's a different thing, but.
I've gotten a lot from running it at home to Gia.
Really?
I really
She a good audience?
She's great, but then also like somebody said it on their podcast where it's really important to listen to yourself because you know how we watch other people, you're like, oh, I would say that. It's like you do that to your own set.
Yeah.
And so even if I'm not in front of a crowd, I know what's funny.
Yeah.
So I'll record myself and I'm like, that's funny. Or sometimes I don't even know when I'm being funny or like I have to be careful because I can get monotonous without meaning to, just because of my voice or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So
you do have an annoying voice.
Yeah.
That was a joke, but it's all right.
I just cry. Like,
yeah.
I have to go.
No, it's doing good right now.
My voice?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. It's because I've been working on it. But yeah, I get a lot out of that because I'm like, am I really just going to use a mic to memorize something too? That's what I started thinking. I was like, how can I get the most out of an open mic?
Uh-huh.
Because that's the thing, people lose interest so quickly anyways. And I'm like, I'm going to lose them just because I can't remember.
Then you just have to, then it's just like it devolves to the point where you're just like, all right, let's Holocaust, fucking Jew, Fanny. You know what I mean? Like that's the point in
I
an
don't
open
really want
mic.
to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I'd rather just barrel through and then if it's funny enough, people laugh.
Sure.
And if not, it's fine, but it's like, be honest with yourself. Like, is it because they're not paying attention or did it just suck, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think people shit on mics a lot. I'm like, because of mics, I've gotten where I am. So.
It is alarming that anyone gets good starting in open mic. You know what I mean? Like we all, unless you're very, very lucky, you start there. And it is crazy that like you do get out of it at some point.
I don't think it is. I am a big believer in the open mics.
Oh, of course. I'm not advising anyone to not do it.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I think like they can make you get into some bad habits, but I also think if something's like really funny,
sure.
People can't like deny that.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, if you're in a dark room with 7 people that are barely listening and you get a decent response, then that's probably pretty funny.
Yeah.
Or it's really fucked up and a normal audience is going to hate it.
That's the bad habit where you're like, you're just like,
well, because you're just talking to 7 of the most jaded people in the fucking world. And you're like, okay, what I just said is going to make them laugh. But like, then you go to a club and it's just like people that are on vacation.
And they're like,
oh my God. And you're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Oopsies.
Yeah. Well, there you go. That's how I did that. Bless you. How many sneezes do you normally go for?
A lot.
A lot? How many? Like, what's your record?
Oh my God. I had a day.
No, I mean like in a row.
Probably like 30 to 40. It was all, I hate it. I'm like exhausted after and angry.
You sneeze 30 times in a row. See a physician. A primary care doctor or fucking a witch doctor. 30 times in a row?
My mom does it too.
That's crazy. Sam will sneeze a lot in a row, but she'll sneeze like 15. And I find
like 30,
that
40.
kind of crazy. 30? How do you even have any air left in your body?
I have to like sit down. I'm sweating.
Yeah.
It's like an ordeal.
That's crazy.
You know what pissed me off? I went to, maybe because I'm on Medicaid, but I got the allergy test and they're like, you're not allergic to anything. I was like, bullshit. Cats.
Yeah.
Dogs. The air.
Is that the one where they like put a bunch of shit in your back or your arm?
On my arm, like they dropped stuff.
Yeah, I'll just take a 30-second video of you right now and play it for the fucking shithead doctor that's just like, oh, you're not allergic to anything.
I might go back because if they can, aren't there shots you can get to not be.
Dude, there's shots for everything.
Could not be allergic to cats. It doesn't matter now because I have a rabbit, but
right.
She would kill a cat. She's aggressive.
Are all rabbits hypoallergenic? I don't know anything about rabbits, to be honest with you.
I've read that people are allergic to them. I'm just not at all.
That's nice.
Which is the best because
if you didn't have that rabbit, things would be pretty bad.
If I didn't have Gia, I'd be dead.
Yeah.
She was like, "Come on."
Yeah, and I'd have to have Gia on this podcast right now
instead.
Yeah, she wouldn't be nearly as entertaining, but
she's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, she would be somewhat
She's
decent.
So freaking cute.
Yeah.
Sassy. She has like territorial problems, so I introduced her to other rabbits because I was like, maybe no, she'll fight them. She'll rip their
Where
fur
did you
out.
find other rabbits?
Before Gia, BG, I was taking care of bunnies because bunnies are considered like exotic pets.
Really?
Yeah. So when I was
They're
a kid,
in the park. Like, what do you exotic?
That's if
it's
you
not
go
a
to the
lemur.
Vet, I know. If you go to the vet, it's like exotic animal, but most people don't know how to like take care of them properly because it's also a prey animal. So it's not like a cat or a dog. Like you treat them different to get them to like follow you around stuff. Because a lot of people I know, they're like, my rabbit won't even let me touch them. I'm like, you're an idiot. Like Gia will like sit with me. But so we had rabbits when I was a kid because my mom didn't want a dog, but she wanted a pet that could be free. Because Gia doesn't have a cage or anything.
Right.
So BG, I was taking care of other rabbits for money. And people pay a lot for you to like watch the rabbit because a lot of people don't know how to take care of it. So
you weren't fostering, you were just babysitting.
I was babysitting and I was getting paid a lot.
Gotcha.
And then
anything to not have a real job.
Right.
Yeah.
And I like that one too because I like having them around.
Yeah.
And then I would get like attached to these rabbits and be sad. And then one of the owners was like, if you in between taking care of them for money, maybe you should just foster one. So then enter Gia. And then I was like, I don't want a pet. I don't want to. She's just going to be here. And some rabbits too, it's like some of them are more shy and whatever. But I was watching her at the place and she was kind of sassy. And I was like, I like that. And so then.
A little spice.
I remember there was an old guy like looking at her. This old couple liked rabbits and they were like, she's too frisky. And I was like, boom. I'm in
I was
there.
going to say, because either that or that man is dead now.
Yeah.
Espi
like,
ended this guy.
I was like, no. And he walked away. And so I was like, can I take Gia? And then she was like a little shy at first. But then she started sleeping with me and she would circle me and follow me around. And I was like, this is my bunny. Because then the people would ask, they would be like, okay, give us updates. And I was like, she sucks. Like, she stole my social security. Like, I was just like, because I didn't want anyone to take her.
Gotcha.
And then I was like, no, I'm going to take her. Because I was like, I don't know if can have a bunny right now. Because I was just like, they're not that hard to take care of. But I was just sort of like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, this is my rabbit.
Yeah. I think you've also gotten better at being able to go out and do things without being like, I got to get home.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, that's what I was nervous about. Because I was like, is she going to be okay? And now she knows the deal. Like,
yeah,
I'm out now. I could be out till midnight. She'd be fine.
Yeah.
You know? So
learned the routine.
Yeah.
That's good.
And,
good for her.
But she's great.
Yeah. And has she helped you kind of mellow out?
I am so much more mellow. First of all, they don't like loud stuff, but she doesn't seem to care about noise. But I'm like, I don't want to be angry around her.
Yeah, because she thinks you might kill her. She's a prey animal.
She's seen me. You know what's funny? So one time I was like screaming at my ex on the phone, and then I felt in the back of my mind. I was like, Gia's gonna be so like upset. And then she came out and she sat on my foot like, it's okay, Mom. And it made me feel even worse. I'm just like crying. I was like, oh my God. I was like, I'm a bad mom.
I'm sorry you had to see me like that. This is,
so then
I'm not normally like this.
She's so sweet. She doesn't really get bothered by me getting upset. I
shouldn't have her on the podcast then.
Oh.
She's not upset by enough of things.
If you put another rabbit here, they'll fight.
Oh, that's true. Okay, cool.
And she's tiny too.
Yeah.
It's funny.
This is funny. Because I had originally asked you to try to come on like a little while ago, and at the time you're like fucking perfect. I've got like a crazy story of something that happened, and two things.
Am I telling the story?
One, I wrote almost got in a fight. I don't know what that means, and then I also wrote down grocery store lady. Do you remember
when
what
did I
either
get
of?
into a fight?
Do you remember either of those things?
I remember both. Okay.
Well, this is funny. I was just like, it's just funny to juxtapose like Gia is making me really happy, but this fucking lady.
So despite me being less angry, I still have like flare-ups.
Of course.
I'm getting better at not acting on it
Okay, good.
for the first time in my life. But so I'm at the Pear.
Which is a comedy club.
Oh, do they not know?
They should, but just to let people know.
I'm at the Pear, which is also like a dive bar. You would think people would fight there, but there's like a strict no fighting policy.
Which is funny because they're all Irish.
Because so you're like, I can't fight people.
I thought this was where we came to fight.
So, and I'm only saying this because they kept bringing it up. It was 2 black girls.
Okay.
Came.
They kept bringing it up.
They were like not. So, anyways, they like come late to this mic that's like ended. And then they're like watching the last person, and then I'm like, that's it, we're done, and I have to go. And you know how I am with new people, a bitch.
Pretty anti.
And so I'm very like stressed. I'd rather people not like me at first because I always feel like people want something from me, so I'm very like, don't fucking talk to me. I'd rather think someone I'm a cunt at first and then
they do
learn to like me. Yeah. I'm a horrible first impression, very purposefully. So, and I'm scared of everyone. So one of these girls just like jumps up on stage and I'm like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
And then she just like looking at me and I was like, dude, get off the stage. And she's like, gets pissed then. She's like, oh, fuck you. I just want to tell you. I was like, no, we're done. Like, we're done. Also, it costs money to go up.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I'm so big on respect all the time where I'm like, that's so disrespectful. I would never just jump on a stage.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane to me. So in my head, I'm like, this girl's crazy, like whatever. And then her friend is like, oh, fuck you. You don't have to talk to her like that. And I was like, no, fuck you. Like, you're going to fucking talk to me like that. And then we're like getting up in each other's faces. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to fight. I haven't been in a fight in years. Like, I'm going back.
Were you a little bit kind of just like,
I just saw
let's
red.
go.
That was it.
Yeah.
So when I get like that, it's not good. So I'm like, fuck you, bitch. Like, we're just screaming. I don't even remember what I said. That's how angry I was.
Yeah. I'm assuming that's in there somewhere. Fuck you, bitch.
I definitely said that.
Yeah.
And then I was like ready to go. And then I'm also like, I don't know if I can take 2. I'm going to have to tase somebody. So I have my hand on my taser. And then Ryan Thomas and Hamza get in between. I was like, damn, these are good friends. Because they get up. They're like, hey.
Yeah.
And a couple of my other friends pieced. I was like, you fucking pussies. Like, I was like mad about it. I was like, dude, you're a fucking bitch. Like,
who our real friends are.
Yeah, I know. I was like, ever since that, Hamza and Ryan, I was like, damn, they're like the homies.
Yeah.
And these girls were like screaming at them. And then I was thankful for that because I don't want to fight anymore. Like, I really just don't. And I also was like, I don't like when I see red. I feel like ashamed about it where I'm like, damn, you really just lost control. So I'm behind them and I kind of gather myself and I was like, oh, I don't want to fight. And so I was like, I don't know what I said. I said something. I was like, all right, it's fine. And they were like, no, fuck you. They were so worked up.
Sure.
And then I was like, I still had to leave. So I'm like trying to leave and they're like following me.
That's always fun when you are in a fight, but you're also on a deadline.
Yeah. I know.
You're like, fuck you, but I gotta go.
I have to leave right now.
I'm
like,
not a pussy. I've gotta leave.
So I'm like leaving, and then I could tell too. I was like, oh, they're not gonna fight me. Like if they were gonna do it, they would have hit me already. So they're like, and then even one of them's like, I would throw my drink at you, but I paid money for this. And I was like, if you were really, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then literally they're like, not get out of the way. And I was like, I have to go. Can you get out of the way? And then they opened for me, which was hilarious. I thought, because I'm like,
oh, so this was all,
and then I leave. So, but yeah, I was glad I didn't do it because I was like, let's go. I remember my parents telling me, all I could hear was like my dad being like, let him hit you first, like in case.
Yeah. So
I was like, all right, fucking hit me. And I've gotten hit before, like bad. So I was like, let's fucking go.
What was the size difference between you and these fine young ladies?
They were bigger than me.
Okay.
But I don't care. I think people get a little spooked too because they're like, why is she so confident?
Yeah.
It's not confidence. It's just like rage.
Yeah.
And, but Ryan and Hamza were like, and it was funny because Ryan was like, I didn't think he was like, you were going to do what you wanted to do. He's like, I didn't want you to be like, fuck you. Like, I can handle it. But he was like, I also didn't want my friend to get into a fight.
Yeah.
So he was like...
It's also funny that these two ladies are so adamant about trying to do an open mic that has ended and no one is there for.
I know. I was like, what are you doing? But yeah, then it was funny. The reason why we brought, like, they kept being like, we're black, this is a race thing. And Ryan was like, I'm black. Like,
no, it's...
like, dude, we're all like minority. I was like, all right, whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't excuse you from being
jumping on the stage
giant
and being an
bitch.
asshole.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
No, take responsibility for your actions in the moment and understand that you were in the wrong here and that this isn't some sort of a racial hate crime when you were clearly the instigator.
Being a dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I didn't have to like freak out. I don't know. If someone like comes at me though, I'm like, this is what we're fucking doing. Like,
yeah. Oh, you even sometimes if people come at you lightly, I've noticed that.
I especially don't like when it's light because I'm like, you're a pussy.
It's really funny to me to observe it. I don't know if I've ever been actually in the room for when you've like really... No, I've seen you like tell somebody it's time to get off. Yeah. Like they've run their time. It's like, get off, come on, let's go. Like I've seen you do that. But there have been times where like I'll show up to a mic and you'll text me and just be like, I just unloaded on this guy. Fucking and then I come to find I'm like, what did he do? And the guy was just like, the host is pretty. And SB's like, I'll end your fucking life, dude.
I want everyone to be like, oh, that's why I'm such a bitch all the time. It's because I'm like, I want to just be funny.
Yeah.
Because a lot of pretty girls go up and then like they're not funny. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I can be pretty, but I'm also hilarious and you're going to respect me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm just like, it just pisses me off.
I'm also just so intimidated by women in general that I would never go up and say that.
Why would you do that?
Why would you say that?
To the host?
Yeah. Especially ones that are like even, like that's pretty tame. Like I could like, but there are some people that go up and just like say, I guess they're just trying to go for something loud or like explicit and they just go way over. But I'm like, you don't know that person. That's pretty, and you weren't you know what I mean? Like it'd be one thing if you instigate, but like to just go up and just out at the gate.
I nearly tased 2 guys.
Yeah.
Because one guy said he wanted to like sleep with me, and the whole room was like,
because they
and
know
I was
you.
Like, get off the stage. And so that was it. And then after he realized like, oh shit, like he fucked up.
Yeah.
And I pulled a taser on his neck and I was like, get the fuck out of here. If I ever see you again, I'll fuck you up. And he was like, he like ran away. And then another guy was just a regular comic. He didn't say anything gross about me, but he was like bombing and he shit on the comic before him who had like a fine set. And I just don't like that. I'm like, you're just being mean. And then I'm leaving to go pee because I'm like, nothing's happening up there.
Yeah.
And so then he's like, what a bitch, right? And I was like, what the fuck did you say? And he's like, and I was like, watch your fucking mouth. And so I pee. I come back. Everybody's like, and he's like, and then the whole mic, it was ruined. And so then after he comes up, this guy is such an idiot. He's like trying to apologize, but he's not. And I'm already mad.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I was like, I don't even know why you would do that. Because I was like, everybody respects me. And I was like, you're an idiot for like, because he's trying to apologize. It's not going right. I'm getting more mad.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, of course everybody likes you. You're a pretty girl. And everyone around is like, and I pulled
gasoline.
I was like, dude, I lit it up right by his neck. I was like, say one more fucking dumb word, you fucking idiot. I was like, one more thing. I was like, let's go. I was like, you think that I'm out here grinding my ass off? You think everything I got is because I'm pretty? I like lost my shit. I was like, do you know how much I don't give a fuck about that? Like, I was just losing my mind. And he was like, please. And then I was like, lost it. And then someone behind me was like, SB, don't, like, because also I think I could kill someone if I tase them in their neck,
or if you could be arrested for assault.
So then I was like, also I just had a moment where I was like, okay, like, don't, it's not worth it.
Damn.
And so then I put it down. It was funny because then we were leaving the same way and I heard him say to one of his friends, he was like, wait, let's just wait a little bit because let her get a few blocks ahead, because I was so angry. And I was like, dude, I would have lost it.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, that's also just the difference, I think, between like because I'm an angry person as well. But I think sometimes that's the difference between like maybe like East Coast aggression and anger and like Midwestern, whereas like I want like 15% of that so that I can be a little bit more like assertive in the moment. To just be like, fucking, hey guy, I've made my decision. Go away. You know what I mean? Like I want to do a little bit more of that, but like my version of that situation, just like fucking dude, come on, you got to be done. Okay, and then as soon as he leaves, be like that fucking piece of shit. And then I'll just I'll stew on it the rest of the day.
I like that because I feel like I resolve things with people too, because I am confrontational, but not in the way that's like that Jordan Peterson says. Conflict delayed is like conflict multiplied, which I believe. So I try to like even just talking to people, but I realized though, I was like, I am scaring people and I shouldn't just be like, I was like, the taser should only be for self-defense.
Yeah.
So I stopped pulling it out at places.
That might be the name. That might be the name of the episode. The taser.
And I was like, I can't just be like threatening people, because I was like, why are people scared of me? And that's like, I have weapons. And then one time, like, this guy made the mistake of like bombing and then trying to hug me after, and I didn't know him, and I'm very sensitive to like touch.
What are you doing?
So then I pulled my taser on him because I was like, don't fucking come near me.
Dude, I don't like to hug family members.
I was like, and so then it was funny, like 3 of my hood friends heard, and then they cornered him at Comedy Shop. So he's already scared of me because they were like, he was already shook up because they're like, this girl pulled a taser on me, and then they're like, yo, what's good, bro? And he was like, ah! And I've never seen him again. But I didn't even ask them to do that. Somebody texted one of them, I guess.
Wow.
And I was like, so yeah, but I was like, I don't want to scare people, and I don't think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I don't want to. And then I've been much nicer at my mics, and I think it's made them really good and fun. And I was like, I don't have. Also, like, I don't like when people are creepy to me, but it's not really fair of me to assume like every guy is like gross and creepy. Like that's not cool of me.
Sure.
Because a lot of them aren't.
Yeah. And they're just dumb or being...
Either they're dumb or trying to get a laugh, or like a lot of people that go that I'm just like... I'll tell people now, I'm like, please don't sit next to me because I have problems. But I'm like, I'm just like, I'm trying to be respectful and also not weird. But so then like...
Please don't sit next to me. I have problems.
Like I'm mentally unwell. They're like, okay.
You're like in have you seen The Joker?
No.
Oh, well, he has like a condition where like he just like laughs a lot, and he has like a little note that like he shows to people, just be like when he's like having like a laughing fit, he's like the note's just like, I have a condition, I don't hate you, this is just like what I do. And I feel like you're kind of doing the same thing.
I'm like, please don't.
Just showed up like, why does Espi have a fence around her?
I would love to have a fence around me at all
just
times.
like a little plexiglass cube. Just, okay,
that sounds so nice.
Yeah,
I would love that. My own personal wall.
Yeah, you can observe and see everything and make sure that everything's going okay, but nobody can get... Yeah,
I would love that. But yeah, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be nicer, and then it's like sometimes I'm wary of people, and they go up and they just do a normal set and they're chill. I'm like, oh, this is just a normal guy. Like,
sure,
there's no threat. So
it is also good to recognize that maybe you're bringing some of your lens and interpretation is adding to the situation.
That's what I was like. The energy you put out, you attract. So I was like not to victim blame, but when I hear people getting into it a lot, I was like, that part of that's you. And so I had to like sit back. So I was like, why am I pulling tasers on people all the time? Like that's not legal.
But that is a cool friend to have from my perspective.
Like,
that's Espi. She pulls tasers.
Yeah, and then I was like, I don't want my personality to be reflected in this weapon that I have to carry around. So I was just like, I don't want to be like that. And I don't want people to feel like they can't like talk to me or approach me or whatever. So I'm rebranding.
Yeah, in the same way that you want to be known for just being funny as opposed to anything else, you also don't want to be known for like violently assaulting other comedians.
Yeah, and like I don't care who people are, and I never like kiss ass, but I'm also like, what if that's someone that could potentially be a friend or like someone who puts me on their show or whatever. So it's like, yeah, I can't just be threatening people.
No, that's not good. No, have you ever gotten into any sort of like confrontations with complete strangers? Other than those two, that was in like a comedy context, you know what I mean? But like out in the wild.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was drinking, I got into fights with like grown men, and that ended horribly.
For who?
Me.
Oh, okay.
I'm tiny. Like, what was I thinking?
Hey, here's the thing, dude. Crazier things have happened.
No, I know, and they're always like, what the fuck? But I've gotten into it, I mean, on the street, like, I'll get into it with people.
Mm-hmm.
I try not to as much. And then I also, like, my parents are always like, please don't get into it with people you don't know who has a gun or whatever.
That's the thing. Yeah, you don't know who's actually crazy, who's going to do anything like that. for sure. Yeah, and I don't have I want to learn how to do like jujitsu or some sort of self-defense just so that if something ever did happen, I could somewhat handle myself. Right now, I couldn't. My defense is I'm going to fucking run. I'm going to turn my hat around and I'm going to get the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But other than that, like I don't have a card to play.
I took a self-defense class, but I was also like, it would be really hard to do what they taught us, especially, and I'm neurotic, so I like practice at home because I was like, muscle memory is the most important thing. And then they say if you do carry like taser or mace, you should practice like taking it out so you're ready when it happens. Because a lot of women just throw it in their purse, and I'm like, no, I have my hands on it.
And then when it happens,
they're
they
like,
can't
oh
get
wait,
it.
give me 5 minutes to get it out, and then I'll be ready. No.
You're gonna attack me now? Okay, give me. Yeah, I need to.
So I always have it on my hand too, because I'm like, what if somebody just comes up on me?
Right.
So I can just hit them. But yeah, the self-defense thing, I was like, I guess if that worst comes to worst, the guy has me like pinned on the ground, I could maybe get out, but I would definitely be biting and clawing all kinds of stuff. But you have to like practice that stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I've never. Oh fuck, are they getting out of the bedroom?
Damn.
That's okay, as long as they don't come over and mess up the camera. But that's all right. I can also edit things away.
I don't think. Yeah.
Well, they're inquisitive young gentlemen. Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Teddy is probably asleep. Let's see if he walks past the camera.
Oh my god, he's gonna make me sneeze.
Okay, hey Bubba, I gotta put you back in the bedroom, okay? And I'm back. Well, we are, because it was only actually like 30 seconds, but I had to put Rooney away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fighting. Is there any? Do you have any recollection of what grocery store lady could be?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm on food stamps.
Hell yeah.
And
Espi will do quite literally anything to save money and never have a real job again.
Yeah. So I'm on food stamps, which is also funny because I told them that I'm a drug addict and I was selling my body. And the only reason why I felt bad about saying that was because at that time I hadn't had sex in like almost 2 years. And
so you were like, this is a real lie.
This is a real, yeah. I was like, that's what I felt bad about.
I couldn't hand this out if I wanted to.
So I was like, clearly not having sex, but they didn't know that. And I went in looking busted with like,
that would be such a wild hearing if the guy was just like, "You're not having sex."
Yeah,
like,
yeah, they just know. They're like, "You? Come on."
Let's see. Like what?
yeah. They somehow have to prove it.
Yeah.
But that was funny, and then I fake cried. Okay. Anyways, grocery store. So if you're on food stamps, they usually give you a bag for free that you don't have to pay for. You know how you go to the grocery store and you gotta pay for that, which is such bullshit.
Yeah.
So I always get a bag for free. I usually go at night because like in between sets or whatever, there's a lady that always just gives me a bag. So one morning I go and this broad comes up to me and she's like, "Do you?" Oh, I took a bag. It was already there.
Got it.
And I was like, "Oh, I'm using EBT." And she was like, "You have to pay for the bag." And she like wouldn't get away from my shoulder. She's like, "You got to pay." And I was like, "I'm not paying for this bag. Like I'm using EBT." She was like, "No, you got to pay." And I was like, "No, that's not how it's been."
Yeah.
And like in any grocery store. And she was like, "No, you got to pay." And she like wouldn't leave me alone. And I was so mad. I just walked out. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, I go back around the same time and, I'm like getting my stuff to leave and I had noticed there were bags there and then this bitch took them. It's the same fucking lady from last time. And she was like, "Do you need a bag?" I was like, "I'm using EBT. I'm on food stamps." And she like charges me for it on the screen, like just goes for it. And I was like, "No, you didn't hear what I said." And I was like, and then she's like, and then I just got pissed and I was like, "You're a fucking cunt, dude." I was like, "Fuck you. I'm not fucking paying for this shit." Like I just got pissed and then I left to go to the register and they gave me a bag. But I was like, "You're a fucking miserable old cunt." Like I went off on her. People were like looking.
Wow.
But I was just like, "Fuck you." And then I went and then right after I was like, "Damn, I really didn't have to call that old lady a cunt." Like I was like, that was a lot.
Dude, you know what? She probably still thinks about you.
Oh, yeah, and we see each other there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, she hates
So this wasn't
me.
like in an opposite neighborhood place.
Oh, this is like right
your
next
neighborhood.
Door.
That's bold on your part.
I
Be
can't
like,
help it.
Same time tomorrow, bitch.
This is the first time in my life so the past few months, I have noticed when I get angry, I can put my own pause in. Like, you know how I said like Ryan and Hamza jumped in when I was like fighting?
Yeah.
So now usually I can't, but sometimes I still slip up. Like with that lady, I was like, you're a fucking cunt, dude. Like, fuck you. Is this all you like? I don't even remember what I said. I get so angry sometimes. I'm like, but I always feel bad after.
Sure. That's good,
Like,
at least.
damn.
At least you have some self-awareness on that front.
I mean, it's improved where I'm not fighting anymore, but like I'm also like, this could be better.
Yeah.
And it has improved, like especially with friends and stuff, because sometimes I'll get mad and just like go off. I used to go off on like my family. Now I like rarely get mad at my family, knock on wood, but I just, now I'm getting better at like being like, wait, I can get angry.
Sure.
Do I have to? Like, and then I'm like, no. All right, then.
Yeah, it's also good to remember that like, no, you're allowed to have the emotion that is anger. It's just how you use that and do whatever you
just scream at ladies.
Exactly. Yeah, Christ got angry, fucked up the temple. Do you know about
really?
that?
I'm getting religious.
Hell yeah, dude. I'll touch on that in a sec. But yeah, he goes to like one of the temples. He goes to a temple in like Jerusalem, I think, and they basically turned it into just like a place where they were just selling a bunch of shit. It was like a market of sorts, and he was just like fucking furious because he was like, no, this is the house of the Lord, and like Christ just like lost his shit and like was literally like flipping tables and knocking shit over and like kicked everybody out and was just like, you den of vipers, like you pieces of basically.
Did he
piece
feel bad
of shit.
about it?
No, he was just like, no, this is like, that's like righteous anger. Yeah, it's an often quoted amongst
that's
those.
Like in Avatar: The Last Airbender when Aang goes back to the air temple and he's like destroying stuff.
Yes, it is exactly like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
He freaks out. He's like,
a story from the Gospel of Matthew is exactly like that. That's very funny.
I have a Bible coming.
Nice.
And I have the Quran.
What version of the Bible do you know? Because there's multiple like different
New Testament.
So there's the Old and the New Testament. Those are the two, like, well, there's 64 or 66 books of the Bible, but then there's the Old Testament and the New Testament. New Testament focuses mainly on Jesus, and then the Old Testament is like Genesis and a bunch of the stories about the Jews and prophesying Jesus.
I know it's the New Testament.
So it's probably, well, I mean, I'm telling you that a Bible comes with both of those. But there's different translations and different versions of. So there's like the King James version is just like, and thou art spokest unto me, I am the Lord thy God, like that kind of stuff.
Be like not easy
or
to
but
read.
they've no, that's the King James version. And then there's like, but there's multiple different translations of it. There's like stuff for like kids or like I can't remember what
it says New Testament recovery version.
Recovery version. Interesting. I don't know what that is. They're coming out with new versions of the Bible a lot.
I just want the OG, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want the OG, then it's... Well, I don't even know if the OG is in Hebrew. And I don't
know.
No, I don't know Hebrew either. There's some pals in Williamsburg that might be able to help you out.
Really?
That's just where a bunch of Jewish people live.
Well, I'm trying to just... I felt that was something in the past few months I was like... I felt deep down... because when I was younger, I didn't believe in God at all. I don't think I was atheist because I was like, well, things aren't making sense.
It's also funny. It'd be funny to me to have like an 8-year-old who's like, yeah, nothing exists. And I'm like, wait, who are you? Are you you're the Antichrist?
Would kind of be funny if I was like that.
Yeah. She's like, hey, little Esperanza, how you doing? Nothing is real. Everything has no meaning. Fucking what?
You're like, Jesus, your parents.
God damn.
But I think actually doing comedy has made me believe in it more because I kind of have a crazy me moving here was so crazy for multiple reasons, and just one of them, which is actually kind of small in the grand scheme of things, was that I quit my job in Texas and I like broke my lease and I just moved to New York with 2 suitcases.
Wow.
I didn't have a job.
That's pretty ballsy.
I just stayed on my friend's couch. Yeah.
And look at you now on EBT and food.
I'm killing it. I live in the Upper East Side with a rabbit.
Yeah. Dude, just say it like that. Don't say any of the other shit.
I know,
just
I don't
like,
need to tell people.
Yeah, I live on the Upper East Side with a rabbit.
I'm on welfare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Check yourself. I'm looking pretty good.
Feeling good?
But yeah, that's it. We kind of were talking about that at a show the other night about just like religion and getting into that. And that's interesting that you have found that in comedy as opposed to the other way around. A lot of people will either lose it or like become more like, this is, of course, religion is dumb because of all of this stuff.
No, I found it more and more.
That's good.
Way more. I go to church now.
That's funny. You should tell my grandparents because they think it's impossible.
No, it's made me like believe and like question a lot of stuff.
That's good. It's very funny because every time I see like certain sections of my family, they try to passively tell me to stop doing comedy.
because I think it's like going against the Bible or something?
Oh, a little bit. I mean, they definitely don't approve of like even like you know me. I'm not like a fucking blue edgelord, but like they would be upset that I say fuck, shit, damn, whore.
Why is that bad? Why are bad words bad?
That's a fucking great philosophical question. I would argue that no words are bad. People just use them to hurt other people's feelings. Like, there's nothing inherently wrong about like the way you arrange certain letters. You know what I mean? There's nothing inherently. We just have attributed meaning to those words, and people use them to hurt each other's feelings. So that's why words are bad. But why they get like so fucking pearl clutchy, I don't know. I don't know what it is about those specific ones. Like,
because sometimes you gotta say stuff though.
Oh, 100%. But it's funny to me that like, because now I'm going. Faggot is the new F word. My grandparents don't know that. The F word is fuck and will always be fuck. You know what I mean? Like, not that my grandparents have any problem saying the other thing. You know what I mean? But like, fuck is much more offensive. In any like they're still stuck on like the it's funny how it's flipped of like who gets offended by words more now, and it's generally more liberal people. My grandparents in certain sections of that part of the family are definitely in the like the right-wing people that used to get upset at like, well, this foul language is ruining our children and all of that shit. And so that's kind of the fun. Oh, I get it from both sides. You know?
I think it's if you use it all the time, it's like, dude, chill.
Sure.
If it's a bad habit or whatever, but and I am actually trying to write clean now, just for the heck of it. But
I have I'll say fucking too much, as it's just like a filler.
It's also hard because it is like a fun word. Like, it sounds fun.
Yeah, dude. You know what is fun though?
What?
When people are expecting you to say fucking or fuck, and like a well-placed like frick.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Because like it's almost gone back to just like you've said, like people say it so much that when you say something that's a little bit different than that, bless you, then it's better, even though it's cleaner and it's silly. It's very silly, like what it is. If we have to sit here for 26 more, that's fucking bananas.
I don't think it's at that point.
That's good. If you were like 30 or 30 is insane.
It's happened.
That's crazy.
And then I get sweaty and like red.
Yeah. But yeah, they also don't. I mean, they don't drink. My grandparents. So like the fact that comedy takes place in
drinking establishment.
Yeah, like bars, comedy club, all of that. Like they're not a fan of that. They don't like that.
I did improv first.
Gross.
Because of that.
That's okay.
I know, but
I won't hold that against you.
My parents were like,
bless you.
I got sober, got into improv first because I wanted to do stand-up, but my family was like, comics drink a lot and all that, so I'm glad actually I did improv first because I think I would have relapsed because I was very, very... Dude, getting sober is tough.
Yeah. I've never had to experience that because like I am in the, I guess, minority, but like I can have like comic friends of ours that have had pretty big problems in the past are like blown away by the fact that I can have like 2 beers and be done.
Me too. There's a little part of me that's like, could I do that now? Because I'm more moderate, but I also am like, it's not worth the risk.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Because the way I was, and I've heard people say in AA that wherever you stopped off drinking, you go right back to it. And I've seen that happen to people where they're like, I'm good. And then they start and then they're blacking out. They're getting into fights. If I started again, I would probably be on the streets somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to go back to my
fighting days?
No, the man JP, Jordan Peterson, you got to have something that you're running towards, but also like have in mind of like, okay, if I gave into all of my vices, what would my life look like in the next 3 to 4 years?
Oh, yeah, I've done that. I was listening to him, and then
and you're like, oh, I would be fucking dead.
I would be
at least homeless, and
Yeah.
you've already been that. So like you've already faced the worst fear. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got into fights a lot.
It's not good.
No.
It's not good at all. I'm gonna tell you some things that bother me.
Lay them on me.
And I want to see if you
Get
agree.
bothered? Okay.
If you were bothered by this. Just this is kind of a general one, so you can kind of interpret it however you want. But the way that most people use social media fucking irritates me to no end. To no end. Like when people, all sides of it. Like when like your parents and their friends are just like, we went to brunch with Sally and Steve and it was so good. And God is good. Okay, fine. But I would rather that than fucking the people that are like, it's not even, it's good for me, but it's so weird. Like, have you ever had people that don't follow you or aren't your friends like share like a story that you posted? I'm like, what is this? I would never do that. You know what I mean? It's not that I don't like it. It's just is like, oh, it's so weird to me. Or like people that are constantly commenting and being super negative on there. I'm like, I've got other shit to do. What are you guys doing?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't get the negative thing, but I remember on I think it was Joe Rogan's podcast, but he was like, it's never gonna be like Michael Jordan would never comment something
100%.
like that. Because then I remember I used to get angry, and then I really thought about it. I was like, what kind of person sits there and is like, this sucks? Like,
Oh, somebody who has jack shit going on in their life.
Exactly. 'Cause I don't even have time to do that. If I don't like something, I just move on. I'm like, okay, whatever, not for me. I don't like social media too because it sort of makes people think I'm doing fantastic all the time. They're like, you're doing so much. And I'm like, I'm sad. Not currently, but like, I remember too. So sometimes I'll post like a sad painting or drawing or whatever.
And you were doing that a lot for a little while.
That. I like it because I'm like, this is the truth of what's going on. Because people are like, you're doing so great in comedy. Your life must be perfect. It's like, no, it's not. And I'm not like crying out for attention. But I'm like, this is also because everybody should be going through that. You should like, everyone I know goes through like tough stuff and has good things and whatever.
Sure.
I don't know. I think some people think it's weird, but I don't care.
I don't know if I ever thought it was weird, but there were times where it was like the third time in like 2 weeks, and it was just like a picture of you with like your hair on fire and a ball of tears, and you're like, life. And I'm like, oh no, like, are you doing all right?
But I also don't mind it. So I'm like, the people who care will like reach out.
Sure.
So it's like, okay, they know I'm going through a tough time.
Yeah.
And I have my friends around. I'm not bad at like picking up the phone and just like calling people either. But I was like, it's kind of nice to get that out there.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is, and then I always feel better after.
I think especially with the comedy aspect of things, just like being negative towards either like other like starting in Columbus there, like, which is a relatively small scene. There were people that would just like cause a bunch of drama and like post in the Facebook groups and do a bunch of whatever. And early on, somebody pointed it out, and it was true. It's kind of like what you were saying, Rogan said about Michael Jordan. There was like a group of like 5 to 7 people in Columbus that were really, really good. Like fucking phenomenal. They were like, they weren't touring, but they were like doing stuff around the state, around all of that stuff. One of the guys is actually like blown up on TikTok. He's doing fucking amazing. His name's Jason Banks. He's the fucking man. Check him out. He's very funny. But he and a couple other guys, somebody noticed, he was like, you know who is never participating in any of that stuff? Those guys. And you know why? Because they're fucking busy. Like, they're out there actually doing comedy stuff and not getting bogged down with small scene drama
bullshit.
bullshit.
I noticed when I left Austin.
Yeah.
And the original crew of whatever, everyone like hates them. They're like, because at first I was like, is something wrong with me? Am I crazy? Because they were so negative, and I had never encountered that in my life. And then I left and I was like, fuck you guys, because they were such fucking dickheads.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, you've been in the same place for like 15 years. Like, I did everything you could do in that scene. in 2 years. So I was like, all right, whatever. They're just. And when I moved here, I was so scared of everyone because I was like, are people like that here? I'm like, oh no, they're too busy grinding.
Yeah, people are actually really trying. And now, of course, you're going to get some of that. But again, it's from people that are not focused on the right things. They're not pointing their energy at the right places.
It was hilarious too. There was a girl here that I don't know if I told you about this. She like posted. This was like a couple of years ago.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That was the funniest. That was one of the funniest
things. You know what I'm talking about?
She
posted on the New York page. She was like, I need female like POC. I guess I'm technically POC because I'm Hispanic. And so I just reached out and I was like, hey, if you need anyone, like, would love to do your show sometime. And I never ask to do shows, but I'm like, you're offering, so I'm here. And she just sends back, like, she's like, oh, you didn't even follow me? Okay, good luck in this business, sweetheart. Like, I run a show at Joey Bats, which was hilarious because, like, at the time it was so tiny and small.
Yeah.
And I was like, I also run stuff at Joey Bats. But then I guess she was drunk that night, but on her like Instagram, she tagged me. I don't know who this person is, but she tags me. Like, she has a video. She's like, if you want to book an untitled, unfunny comic, she like tags me. She's like, put up Espi. And I was like, this is insane. And then she pulled it down because I'm sure people were like, dude, what are
you doing?
But it was, my friend was with me and he was like dying. He was like, what the fuck is this girl's problem? And I was like, I have never even talked to this lady.
Is that somebody different than the girl that would post a bunch of stuff on her stories about you for like 2 months?
Yeah, that I also didn't really know.
That was fucking hilarious.
I was getting pissed.
Yeah.
I was gonna fight her, and then one of our friends was like, don't.
Yeah, and now where's she doing? Nothing.
Right, exact. Both of them
are
gone.
Fucking,
I don't even.
Fucking nothing.
The other girl was just saying, I don't even know who she was.
Yeah.
But it was funny because I was like watching and we were laughing and then we just like went back to work. We were writing and we just go right back to work. We're like, well, we have stuff to do. So, yeah. But that was like, as I get older, I'm like, when people do shit like that, I'm like, I've never even met you. Why do you hate me so much?
Yeah, I have no idea. Maybe it's because you yelled at her boyfriend at an open mic.
I don't think she had a boyfriend.
I know that was just, I was reaching for something. I also, how about, this is very specific, but what, can you drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not well.
That's fine. Obviously. Wait. Okay. Womp womp.
I'm just like...
Whatever. Whenever you're in a parking lot and there's one person or a group of people that are walking down the middle of like a lane where you're supposed to drive, I'll run you over. I'll do it in this Target parking lot. I don't care if they got cameras. I'll run you over, and people will be like, "Yeah, they fucking deserve that.
They deserve it."
Yeah, they're so fucking walk next to the
I think
cars.
People do that on purpose too, because they like, oh, you're not, and it's like
No, I'll lay on the horn at the very least to get you to move. It's insane. I just like when people have such a lack of spatial awareness of like what their body is doing. Like, same thing with like if somebody's like standing in a doorway or like blocking a doorway
or a sidewalk. There's like we mentioned the other day when it's like 4 people lined up. I'm like, dude,
yeah, 4 wide at Talladega. This is a fucking sidewalk, bro. Move. This isn't a game of Parcheesi. You don't have a fucking blockade here. You don't own this side of the street. Let me past you. Sometimes when like that happens, I will like walk out into the street and like go around them in the hopes that they like look and be like, oh. But they're so fucking not self-aware.
I'll shoulder check somebody and be like, do not fucking pay attention.
Yeah, get out of the way,
also,
dog.
I want to stop doing that because I'm trying to be more positive.
Yeah, and also people could have weapons. Mm-hmm.
Like an actual gun.
Yeah, and that's not good. Actual guns are not good, especially when you don't know the person. If you know the person, actual guns can be fun. But when you don't, it's bad. That's our gun safety section.
Gun safety.
Yeah. If somebody you know has a weapon, that's not true.
Sick.
That's not good. I actually just watched a documentary about Waco, and they had a lot of weapons, so it's all right. When someone is like non-committal, and then like right before, like when making plans, and then like right before, oh Jake, oh sorry, I can't make it. Just tell me, you're not going to be able to come. Just tell me up front.
I know in advance. Yeah, sometimes things come up. But I try, if I find out something, I try to tell people right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate that too.
If you're not going to make it, just tell me. Just like, don't be, oh, maybe we're going to try. Just tell me you can't make it. That's fine.
I agree.
I'm not going to be hurt by it, but like, there are times where I'll send something out to like a group chat of just like, hey, anybody want to come over, or hey, like anybody want a podcast, and then just like, oh yeah, maybe, or sometimes maybe kind of on the back of that, especially if you text a group of people like, hey, can anyone help me with this thing, and then just no one responds, fucking just say no. Like, it's okay if you want.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad at you, but at least I know that you saw it and are like, no, thank you. Because I don't
agree. I'm
effectively
very direct. I think people are scared of being direct, which is dumb because it just makes it worse. I saw a post on Instagram. This guy was like, the shortest route is the longest way. And I was like, yeah, something like that. It was like the shortest route. He said it better than I did.
Clearly, because I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about.
I sent it to Jay because I was like, yes.
The shortest route.
Everyone wants the quick fix, but nobody realizes the quickest fix is the longest path.
Yeah.
Very different than what I just said.
Yeah.
But
the
similar.
shortest man is the longest trial. What? That's not.
You're like, that's not what it was at all. But I was like, oh, that's so true. Like, people want to be happy, but then they're like getting high and drinking. I'm like, nope, you got to get sober and go through years of pain.
Yeah.
People don't realize when you're sober, it took me like 5 years to like get happy.
Sure.
4 or 5 years, because people are like, oh, and then one of my friends was like, just take antidepressants, and I was like, no, I feel like because I had years of pain, you're like digging up the pain,
or you have to live and be a person.
Yeah,
you
have
don't
to,
get to suppress
figure
everything.
it out.
Yeah,
and then and you have to dig up the old stuff, especially if you're like old trauma. It's like you got to deal with that, so it's gonna take a while.
Sure.
Especially if your life's been shitty.
Sure.
But then now I'm happy. I haven't been depressed in like years.
Yeah.
I get sad about stuff or like heartbroken or whatever, but that's different.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm like, I haven't been depressed.
That's something that it's not on this list, but it's something that really bothers me is when people conflate just being sad with I'm depressed.
No,
you're not. You're sad and you want a little bit of attention. Fucking just be sad, dude.
It's like Chris Rock's special where he's like, everybody just wants. He's like, that's a quick way to get attention. But then the people who actually need it aren't getting.
Yeah, just be, dude. That I mean, we'll go back to the first thing of like how people use social media, dude. If you're crying,
no, keep that at home.
I hope it gets worse. If you post remotely on Instagram, whether it's a story, a post, a fucking live, and you're crying, I hope whatever you're going through gets worse.
That's when you're like by yourself. The only time if someone's like getting interviewed and then they start to tear up, I respect that. I'm like, you're passionate about this thing.
Sure.
But if you're like, I've seen like girls on TikTok just post themselves crying. I'm like, no.
No, this is insanity. We used to institutionalize you for this.
Yeah.
This is wacky, dude. Like,
and I'm all about crying.
No, and I'm not saying don't feel emotions. This isn't like an never cry thing, but call a friend, talk to your dad, get a therapist.
That's almost like posting yourself like taking a piss.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is, because it's like, and also with like TikTok, I'm like, you recorded yourself crying and then
you know it's not the first take. They didn't nail it on the first take. Like people, like
the first take.
Like they're trying. Like it wasn't enough. Like they do it 15 times. I know they do.
I hate it too.
It's so. Oh man. Like, and then I like, what do you want? Like
attention.
Just but fucking same thing with like people that'll like post like Facebook statuses, just like, I don't know if it's worth it. And then people are like, what's wrong? I'm like, and then they're like, nothing.
That's why I'm so aggressive too, because I don't want people to reach out to me.
Yeah.
I am, because I'll post my sad painting. But the thing about that is people buy those things
for
a lot of money,
which
is shocking. I'm like, you want this sad shit in your house? But I'm like, no, I don't want
There's just one guy that keeps buying them. Just like,
I've had
come
a few
on.
repeat people. I'm like, I don't know if this is healthy for you.
But whatever you're going through, like, I probably can't help you, but man, you should talk to somebody.
See a therapist.
Yeah. You might be, this actually might be you, but this bothers me. When people get mad when you're polite. Do you know what I mean? Like, if we're walking into a store and you're behind me and I'm in front of you and I just hold the door open, I've had people be like, no.
Oh,
and I'm like, hey, bitch, fine. Fucking, I'll rip the wheels off of your fucking stroller. I don't care. I'm being nice to you.
I hate when people say, I've decided that people that say they're feminists aren't feminists. A lot of these fucking cunts out there that are like, oh, don't open the door. I'm like, no, open the door for me. Like, I believe very much in chivalry, and I'm very much feminist.
It doesn't even need to be for, like, if I open it up for anybody, I would do it for whoever is behind me.
Exactly.
If you were within that, like, 6 to 8.
I like when people do it for me too.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, cool. I don't have to touch the door. Thank you.
Now, don't do it when I'm like on the other side of the parking lot and I have to hurry over there. But if you're in that like 6 to 12 foot behind me range, I'll hold it for you.
When people get rude about it, I'm like, really?
Yeah. Or like one time this lady, it was actually when my family, I think we were visiting here as just like a family. We were on the subway and it was like super crowded, and a lady got on and my dad was seated and he just like, he got up and like was like, and then she was just like, oh, please, I don't need some fucking, what, I bet you think you're some fucking good guy.
You for real?
100%. And my dad was like, he's so calm and collected. He's like, no, go ahead. And she was like, I'm not going to tell you. He's like, I don't care. And then he just stood the rest of the time. And like this, I was like, who are you, lady?
Dude,
like,
what a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
I would gladly take it. I also was trying to write a joke about this, which I think is, it just irritates me when like an ancient person gets on and they're so stubborn. They're like, no, I'm not going to sit down. I'm like, if this thing turns the wrong way, you're going to be on your ass and dead.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I have to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm like, no, please sit down so you're not like turning into dust by the end of the...
Right.
It just pisses me off.
One kakung and you're on the floor. You live on the floor for the next 20
hours. Just take it. It's nice when people do that for you. I'm like, I'll take, if a guy gets up for me, I'm like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. And it also feels good to do for somebody else.
Whenever I see like a pregnant lady or an old person, I'm like, oh, that's all you.
Yeah, or like if there's like a baby with a kid, like a kid that's like standing there. Yeah, just like, no, you fucking put the kid there and you can stand there. Yeah, and also let me take the kid home for a little bit. I want, some. I like kids.
I like kids too.
This one just says Italians.
I'm Italian.
Yeah, I'm just. Are you really?
Yeah.
Italian and
my mom's Sicilian.
Oh, well, I feel like they think that those are two different things at times. Does she do that?
She gets mad about the trashy Italians.
Okay, so like the fucking Jersey Shore Guido
She's
fucks.
very like, these guys are trash.
How does she feel about The Sopranos?
I think they liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what.
I haven't seen The Sopranos.
Really? That's like,
everybody tells me I should watch it.
That's the East Coast New York that your dad always warned you about. At times, just like, watch out.
Because you get stabbed.
Yeah.
Keep it moving. That's how
wrecked.
you're kidnapped.
Okay, let's do one more. Oh, this one, I said honestly when people tell me what to do.
I hate when people give unsolicited advice too and don't even try to like, or I hate when I tell somebody something like personal and then they just keep giving advice for like weeks. I'm like, okay, I don't want to do this. One time I was at a show, I'm not going to say who, but I had a bit about, I used to do a bit about like, oh, I fell in love with my best friend. And I think, and the thing was I had barked for like, it was either 4 or 6 hours that night. And this was the midnight show. So when I get up there, I'm tired. And this had been months after the actual like friendship breakup. And another comic after I got off stage. So I didn't do that well because I was exhausted. I was like, I just want to go to sleep. I was like falling asleep in the back. I go up. I don't do well. And then this comic comes up to me. He's like, hey, if you're not feeling good about that, like, and you're sad, like, don't talk about it. You should just do jokes that like make you happy. You're supposed to have fun up there, which I also don't agree with at all because I'm very on it. I was like, that's bullshit. You don't know what you're talking about. I just didn't say anything. I was like, all right, good night, man. Like, because I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Also, that wasn't why I did badly. I'm tired. He was like, oh, you're upset about this and it showed in your set. I was like, you're retarded. Like, I was falling asleep in the back. I've been barking for hours.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right.
That one grinds my gears whenever somebody the only people that I want to hear
from my friends.
The only people I want to hear comedy advice from are from my friends or someone that I like and respect.
I'll ask
in
for
comedy.
advice.
If this isn't a stupid scenario, but like if I was on stage and for whatever reason in this fantasy, Tom Segura was in the back and was like, "Hey man, you should probably do this," I would listen to that because I respect him.
That's different. He's like established.
Exactly.
I also don't mind if someone's like, "Oh, is it okay if I give you a tag?" Like, I don't mind if someone comes up to me and is like, "Can I suggest?"
Oh, a tag is fine.
But I hate when people like, "You should do this." Just come up. I'm like, "You're not gonna make it."
Yeah.
I'm
don't
like,
tell me how to do this. I'll figure it out.
When I was younger, so when I first started, I would shake and I was like nervous and I would talk really fast. But I just felt like I couldn't control my body. I think Mark Maron talks about this. Somebody talks about Ari Shafir has his like comedy class thing, but he was like, there's just the technicality of it. Like you're going to get used to it and like muscle memory will develop. But guys would always, maybe because they thought I was like cute or whatever, and this was when I was like nicer, they would be like, "Oh, you should like talk slower." They would just give me unsolicited advice all the time. And they would be like, "Try not to shake so much." I'm like, "You fucking cunt. Like, what do you think? I'm up there just like purposefully like."
Yeah.
Like,
this is part of the act.
Yeah. I was like, dude, that's
my influences are Bill Burr and Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. Because I was like, I'm not trying. I was like, I would stop shaking if I could, and I just knew in my head, I was like, the more you get used to it, it'll stop.
Yeah.
And then you'll slow down. But I hate when people give new people advice. I'm like, shut up. Let them, like, for however many months, like, just stumble and figure it out. Because it's terrifying being up there.
Yeah. I do think that times I do need to slow down because I think that I can talk too fast and I'm moving too fast. Because a lot of times I've got a lot of words that I want to say and I want to get them all in. And so sometimes I think I need to slow down as well as I need to edit more and be like, no, let's get to really the meat of what's going on here.
That might be a bad thing about open mics too. I talk fast at them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's not going to be a laugh there.
Exactly.
So that when I do a show, I'm like, oh fuck, they were laughing there and I didn't give it space.
Yep. And my problem is that like I don't like silence and I feel like I need to fill it with something. But I'm really trying to get better at just like, no, we're going to sit in silence for a second and it's going to be okay. And you know what? There actually might be some times where it's not okay in the moment.
And that's okay.
And that's okay because in the long run, it'll get better.
And you're going to learn from it.
Absolutely. So you can't be afraid of not doing well in this moment because that's going to keep you from getting better in the long run.
Don't act out of fear.
Yeah. And Espi and I are experts in comedy.
We are.
Yes.
We just become assholes. We're like, we're the best.
Dude, I think that too much, dude. Sometimes I'll be like, I'm
manifesting.
fucking so good, dude. I'm walking such a line of like, I am the best, but also I am such a piece of shit and don't know what I'm doing at all.
I think it's good to manifest that, but then also know like I have a long way to go.
Yeah.
And I'm like very big on staying humble the whole way through. So I'm like, I'll never be a dick to anyone.
Good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yeah, we're at like an hour 20. So.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Anything that you want to, that you have, you do a lot of stuff. So.
Yeah, I'll post I'm like acting now. No big deal. No, I'm just kidding. But okay, I'll post on Instagram, everything pretty much. I'm shadow banned, I think, still for being violent. But anyways,
nice.
You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, all Espi Rivadeneira. ESPIRIVADENEIRA.
Got it, dude. Hell yeah. And then this, rate, review, subscribe. Matt Bowman is bothered. Matt Bowman comedy on everything except Twitter, which is Bat Bowman. We're all around New York City. If you're here, come to a club and there's a chance that we're there or just fucking hanging out there because we have comedy friends that are cool.
We love you. Bye.
So thank you guys so much. We'll see you next week. Stay bothered. Bye-bye.